What's up, guys? So in this video, we're talking about the 2021 Wethepeople Justice. I think the Justice looks really cool. It's actually at a somewhat decent price. 2 color options, got a sprocket guard, hub guards, but no pegs. But yeah, so it's a pretty solid bike, and at the end, we're going to talk about whether I would actually recommend it or not. Some bikes I do not recommend, and some I do. So stay tuned, and let's get right into it. The Dumpster Bomb mission. Growing BMX by making it fun and easy to understand. For some of us, it's an escape. For others, it's a passion. But for all of us, it's a lifestyle. We all love this sport. I'm glad you're letting me teach you everything that I know about it. Let's talk about what Wethepeople says about this bike. Based on the same bike that Wethepeople Pro Felix Pragenberg rode last season, the Justice features revised geometry and never-before-seen parts overhaul from Wethepeople. Our new Activate tires, Paragon plastic guard sprocket, and perfect grips make this new school urban machine more stacked than ever before. Paired with a shorter 22mm offset fork and a full assortment of plastic hub guards, you'd be forgiven for thinking that you're riding a full custom build. Sounds like they hyped it up just a little bit. It's definitely not the same bike that Felix Pragenberg rides. It's okay quality, but it's not near the level of quality that they make it sound. Like they hype it up to be. It is very responsive though, and that does come with the geometry that Felix Pragenberg's signature frame is. So let's talk about the price, the most important thing, second most important thing. This bike costs $519. Now this is $20 more than the Kink Switch. This is about $20 cheaper than the Cult Devotion. And I think $20 cheaper than the Sabrosa Malum. So that's kind of where it fits in here. It comes in 2 different colors. It comes in a matte ghost gray and a matte taxi cab yellow. I think the ghost gray looks really clean, and the taxi cab yellow is also, it's like really bright and flashy, but nothing wrong with that. Okay, so I want to run through the specs on here. The first thing that stands out to me is it's 4130 chromoly frame. So it's tri-moly, right? That means the front triangle. Can you see this? The front triangle, the head tube, the down tube, and the top tube are chromoly, where this back end is high tensile steel. And what happens when you spin, high tensile steel bends. So if you plan to do a lot of spins and progress, ultimately this frame, it's going to last for a little bit, but you're going to be unhappy. You're going to be unhappy with it in the long run for sure. So just make sure that you're aware of that. Now, it has a lot of Salt aftermarket parts. Some of these are Salt parts that you could buy aftermarket. Keep in mind, it kind of goes like this. So there's stock parts. They're really cheap. They're mass produced. They're not very good. Then there's second level aftermarket, which would be like Salt, Mission, brands like that. And then there's fully aftermarket like Eclaw, Shadow, Profile, things like that. Odyssey, those are really high end. They've just got another level of craftsmanship put into them. So the Salt parts are good. They're better than the alternative, but they're not the best. It does make this bike just a little bit better than like a Cult Control or a Cult Access, something like that. However, $500 is a lot for a tri-moly bike, but we will talk about that in a second. The forks are full 4130 chromoly. This is good. The bars are also full 4130 chromoly. It has one double wall rim in the back, and the front rim is a single wall. So this is kind of annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Your back wheel is going to take a big beating when you do spins, when you do whips. So that should be double wall for sure. Now the front wheel doesn't take as much of a beating unless you're like nose casing jumps, which hopefully you're not doing. So you can get away with a single wall front rim. However, if you're going to spend over $500 on a bike, you definitely should look into getting something with double wall rims. Other than that, there's nothing that really stands out. I did want to touch on the 22 millimeter offset forks. So 26 millimeters about average, and 22 is going to be a little bit steeper. What this does is this brings the front wheel in closer to the front end, making it a lot more responsive when you steer. It's going to turn a lot quicker, and nose manuals are going to be easier to pop up into. So this is for really responsive riding like Felix Pragenberg, Garrett Reynolds, stuff like that. And yeah, that's really about it on the specs. Let's roll right into the geometry. Hold up. If you've watched this far, you probably enjoy what I'm talking about. If you're looking for a bike and you want this to be a lot easier than scouring the internet for hundreds of different reviews and looking at different specs, you can get a free BMX bike recommendation from me. All you have to do is click the link in the description, fill out a form, and then I will send you back a PDF that has 3 bikes that are perfect for you. It's going to take out a lot of the guesswork, and it's going to make your life a lot easier while you're shopping for a bike. So make sure that you do that and save yourself some time. Let's get back into the video. It's got a 20.75 inch top tube. Double check the size guide to see if this is the right size for you. It's a pretty fair size. Most people will be fine on the 20.75 unless you're obnoxiously tall. The chainstay is 12.75, which is actually pretty short and pretty responsive. This pairs really well with those steep forks that we mentioned, because that responsive back end is going to make spins come a lot quicker. They're going to be easier. It's going to be easy to pick up manuals. However, it'll be a little harder to control. So it gives you that responsive, snappy feeling with your frame, but it kind of sacrifices control. So keep that in mind. The second thing here is the standover height is 9 inches. This is actually about average. I'd say it's a little tall, but it's about average. So the average standover height gives you a good amount of room to pinch your seat to throw bars and do toboggans, but it also isn't too tall that you start to catch your feet on tail whips. So I like that this is balanced and right there in the middle. The last spec here, or the last part of geometry, is the 76-degree head tube angle. This is very steep. So most bikes are 75 degrees. Some bikes get a little steeper and go to 75.5. 76 is a lot steeper. It's gonna do the same thing that the steep forks do. It pulls the front wheel in closer to you, giving you a shorter wheelbase, making the bike steer and just feel really responsive. So this is a super responsive bike. All right, so let's roll right into how the Justice did in the street, park, dirt, quality, style, Dougster Bob score sections. Okay. So in street, it got a 16 out of 40. This isn't very good. It got 5 points because it comes with hub guards, but it doesn't come with pegs. I'd really like to see pegs included on this bike because pegs are expensive. To get all 4 pegs, you'd probably spend around $80, and that's without shipping. So shipping, taxes, all that. The tires are okay for street, but the quality of the bike overall just isn't very good. Without a full chromoly frame, you can't expect your bike to hold up to big gaps and big drops like you would want it to. Now, it does not have a free coaster either, so that's a little bit depressing if you are a free coaster guy. Now, in the park section, it got a 15 out of 30, which is about a 50%. This is okay. It did good because it has holes for gyros, but it doesn't come with a gyro. The geometry is pretty responsive. It's going to be very similar to park-specific frames. The only difference is this one has a taller standover than some of the park-specific bikes, and the tires are okay in street. Now, dirt, it got a 12 out of 30. It did pretty low because the geometry is more park-specific, more technical than a mellow geometry that you would normally like on a dirt-specific bike. It also, the tires are okay. Tires are okay on dirt. They're okay all around, but they're not the best just because they're lower quality tires. The dirt gearing, this bike is okay at 25.9. A lot of dirt specific riders would like to have something that's like 30.10 or 28.9, but this is okay. That's why it got like almost a 50% in the dirt section. But let's talk about the quality section. This is the most important section. Everything else you can kind of change to make more for street, more for dirt, more for park, but the quality is based off of the foundation of the bike. And the frame is not full chromoly. The rims are one double wall, one single wall. Forks and bars are full chromoly, but it doesn't come with a warranty. So it's an okay quality bike. It's almost 50%. It didn't score as good as like the Wethepeople Envy or the Wethepeople Battleship, but it scored pretty high. It's also half the price of those bikes, so you got to keep that in mind too. Now the style score, it got a 25 out of 30. It would have done perfectly if it came with more than 2 colors, if it came with 3 colors or so, just because being able to choose a color that you really like is super important. So it has the 2 colors. It's fully customizable. What I mean by that is you can change out the bars, you can change out the forks, you can change out anything on the bike with a different part. And that's really important because getting a bike that's not customizable will make you rip your hair out. Now the Dougster Bob score, this bike got 100 out of 200, perfect 50%. This is actually pretty good. Some bikes didn't score. I mean, a lot of bikes didn't score this high. However, it's $520, but we'll talk about, I'll go on a little tangent here in a minute. The potential issues that I see with this is that back end bending and some issues with your front wheel. So again, like I mentioned, this back triangle is not full chromoly. So when you're spinning, it's taking a beating and it's getting bent the direction that you spin. That happens a lot. Same with the single wall rim. If you're constantly smashing that wheel, it's not going to last very long at all. It's super important to have a double wall rim, especially when you're riding at a mid-level. So it's for a rider who likes really specific street. You can get bikes that are better than this one for the same price or for cheaper, but this is the only one that's going to have that really responsive geometry. 76-degree head tube angle, 12.75 inch chainstay, 22 millimeter forks. It's built to just be super responsive, super snappy. But it brings me to the next part. Would I recommend it? And I would only recommend it if that's exactly what you want. Something steep, something responsive that you can get on and be more technical. So other than that though, this bike is way overpriced. For $520, you could get something with full chromoly double wall rims, but it might not be very specific like this one, geometry wise. So if this is absolutely what you're going for, go for it. You're not going to find it anywhere else. However, if you're just looking for a bike to ride street, ride dirt, whatever, 1, fill out the recommendation form so I can get you a good recommendation. But 2, this is not the move for you. This is not the move at all. Again, overpriced. Stay away unless you need that specific geometry. All right, so that is the 2021 Wethepeople Justice. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me which bike I should review next so that I can get working on it. I'm glad you're a part of the community, and I hope I see you in the live next Friday. Peace.